Evening grade 9. So I've left you with quadrilaterals for for about 2 lessons now to do your own quads. Quads can be a little bit difficult, but the only reason why they're difficult is because you don't know all your properties of quads. So I'm going to go through 2 with you. I'll go through one simple one and then one hard one. I'll show you what I added in. So I've taken a photo of all the answers and I put it into your team's folders, so you can go through and mark your work. But I know that some of you are battling. The video before this of the grade 9s on my YouTube account, the grade 9 video, does all the straight line geometry. So parallel lines, adjacent, sub-complementary, vertically opposite angles around a point. Those are all grade 8 concepts. So if some of you are battling with the grade 8 concepts, you have to go back and revise that. Also triangles, all the angles in a triangle add up to 180. Exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the opposite to interior. And then the base angles of an isosceles triangle are equal. Now these are all very important in figuring out unknown angles within quadrilaterals. So when you do your quads, coupled with all of those, you also have to add in your properties of quads. Now the most important properties of quads are normally your parallel lines. Those are very important. So your parallel lines would lead you to alternate angles or corresponding or co-interior, as well as the diagonals. Now, you know from last year how I hate my diagonals, but I found working these all out and not sponging off some of my A kids, working all of these things out and redrawing them in my book, I found out by redrawing them, I think that's why back in the day the teachers made us redraw them. You guys are lucky you got these textbooks. I had to redraw them, and when I redrew them, I could see the triangle, I could see the thing that they were looking for by redrawing them. So let's have a look at a couple of examples. Alright, so I'm going to look at this example over here. This one over here, down. Okay, the rhombus. Okay, now they gave you everything besides that and that. That's my pencil marks. Okay, I don't know if my rubber's here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it because my desk's in a mess, like my school desk. Okay, so I had to add. I had to put in. So they gave you this piece of information without this over here. Okay, so don't stress. Alright, but they told you it was a rhombus. So when they tell you it's a rhombus, you must know that that's equal to that and that. The reason why I only did it on these 2 sides here is because I had to find this unknown angle over here, x. Alright, so I only needed those 2, and then I used my favorite base angles of an isosceles triangle. Do you see it's a triangle? So if that and that, so if that's 50, then these 2 have to be equal because it's the base angles of an isosceles triangle. So all I did was, if you go to my working out, I said that is 180 minus 50, and whatever my answers are, divide by 2, 65 and 65. So I worked out x of 65. So I had to add in that. If you didn't know that that and that is equal, then you wouldn't, all of these sides are equal, then you wouldn't have known that it is a isosceles triangle, and hence you wouldn't have been able to work it out. That's why your kids get stuck. Let's look at a hard one. Okay, so this drawing over here is something you'll probably see in your final exams. So here they had a rectangle. Just go out a little bit. So PQS, so PQRS is a rectangle. So what must I know about a rectangle? That this angle is equal to 90, that angle is equal to 90, that angle is equal to 90, that angle to 90. So I had to go and add in these right angles. What about also about a rectangle? That this is equal to this and this is equal to this. Okay, then they said that this what's this, Q, I forgot to put in my side here, but anyway, this RT was a cut. So what do you know about a cut? That the adjacent sides are equal, which led me to that being an isosceles triangle. So I had to know that I pick up that's an isosceles triangle. Then you had that this and this was also equal, which means that these 2 angles inside here were also equal. Alright, so these are a couple of things. I was looking at Manisha's book, and Manisha also was like putting in like pencil marks in. I taught you this last year, and obviously Manisha works hard in class, we all know that. So she follows my way of working out, where you put in all your information with pencil and then you work it all out, and then you go and set it up, like I've set out for you all the working out. Now, some of you kids won't go my long method. Some of you are sharp and you go quick ways to work it out. I went a little bit longer. So let's go back to the drawing. So to start off, I had to find, what was I looking for? I was looking for x. Let's find x. There's x there. So they gave me Q1 as 50. I knew that Q2 had to be 40, but you wouldn't have known that if you didn't know that this was a right angle, because they said this was a rectangle. So they didn't tell you it was a right angle, but they told you this was a rectangle, and you had to know that the inside angles of a rectangle, interior angles, are 90. So you had to use your knowledge from your theory to say that this is 40. I mean, this is 90, so that means that I must take 50 plus what will give me 90, so you can get that base angle as 40. And once I have that base angle as 40, then I know that this is also what 40 because of an isosceles triangle. That's a cut. So you had to know that if this was a cut, this thing here was a cut. If that's a cut, that means that that's equal to that, which makes a base angle, which makes that 40 and 40, which makes it 80. And then interior angle of a triangle is equal to how much? 180. So if that's 40 and that's 40, that's 80, that has to be 100. So it was a culmination of a whole bunch of things. You had to know the inside angles of a rectangle is 90, followed by the properties of this triangle or this cart to tell it's isos to make that 40. So you had to do a whole. So look here. Here's what my working out. So I had just that properties of a rectangle. That's how I got the Q2, and the Q2 was there. Then I had to go here in my R2, which is this guy over here, base angles of an isos triangle. And then I did the inside, all the inside angles equal to 180. So I took that plus that and I minused it from 180 and I got that angle over here as 100. Then to work out this bottom guy over here, I did a long way, and I'm pretty sure you'll have done a quicker way. I added in Q4 over here. Where's Q4? There's this over here, this 60, because I had this as because this little triangle over here, like it was very odd why they put this little triangle at the bottom of here and they put a right angle. You must look for these things. Now, guys, this is why quads is hard. Quads is hard because you have to have me in front of the board showing you these quick methods and these tricks. Like, for example, that example I just showed you now, there was a little right angle triangle at the bottom of the cart. Why put that there? And this is the probably reason why I enjoy doing geometry, is because I'm always they try and mess you around, and you all know this in class. I overthink a question. I always get the easy ones wrong. So I went down here and I looked here that if that is 90 and that's 30, that's 90 and that's 30. The inside angles, the interior angle of a triangle have to be 180. So 90 plus 30 gives me 120, and that has to be 60. And then I did angles on a straight line. All these angles on a straight line must add up to 180. So I had this 40 already. I had that 50, I had that 60, so 50 plus 40 is 90, 90 plus 60 is 150, so 150 plus 30 gave me 180. So if I got that as that 30, then this also has to be 30. Why? Because this is the bottom piece of a cart, and the bottom piece of the cart, the bottom sides or the adjacent sides of the cart are equal, so that's an isos triangle, so that's 30 and 30. So I got that y as 30. So you can go and see all my working out, my calculations. You just really have to practice this, people. That's what you have to do. It's just practice and finding these things. So, but the properties, you have to know all your properties. So please, I feel so bad for the kids that didn't have me last year for maths, because I drilled this into you guys last year. You had to come into my classroom, you had to tell me it. And if you didn't tell me it, I kept you in a break. And how I roll it at school with you kids. And then you all love me because you understand, but I had to be hard on you to know this stuff. So you're all at home, you have to know all your rules. And I challenge you, I do this in class all the time. Let's do the straight lines quickly. Let's do straight lines. So it's vertically opposite. Adjacent sub, adjacent cop. Angles around a point. Parallel lines, so supplement, alternate corresponding co-interior. I think I'm missing one. I think there's 8 of them. Then there is the triangles, exterior angles, interior angles, and my base angles of isos. So you have to know all of them, and then you have to know all your quads. And then your quads is a lot. You have to know rhombus, all sides are equal. And parallel. Rhombus, opposite sides are equal, because a rhombus is the squashed square. So you have to know that the opposite sides, like a parallelogram, are equal. The opposite angles are equal and parallel. The square and the rectangle are all interior 90. parallel. So you have to know all of them, and this is how you build them. And then my last piece of information I can really help you is they normally start with alphabetically A, B, C, D, E. And then when I like to mess your kids around in the final paper, I'd start with, you have to find C first. Then go find A, B, C. So I mess your kids around like that, but normally stock standard questions is they ask you for A, because A will help you find B, and B will help you find C, and so forth. Okay, but you will get that hard question where they give you nothing. So kids, this is about studying now off by heart. So please, I've given you all the answers. So tomorrow's lesson is basically you go mark and do corrections. If you go and just mark your work and you get it wrong and you close your book, will you know this section? Will you pass paper 2? No, you'll fail paper 2. Okay, and then you're crying for me to put more probability questions and put more data handling questions so you can pass. And data handling is going to be 10 marks, probability 10 marks. Quads is going to be 40 marks. So that's the way the cookie crumbles in mathematics. Alright, so please work hard. I've done a lot of work, so I expect you to do work. Set it out properly, mark it so that when we get back to school, we can go over it together. Thank you, God bless.